Beach FM, locals talking to locals.
My very great pleasure to welcome to the program now Councillor Angela Buswell, who has the portfolios, the very interesting portfolios, as it turned out, of business and jobs. Angela, good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, John. Thanks very much.
Lovely to talk to you. Angela, look, just before we get on to that, I see the Gateway building has passed its first hurdle after some discussion yesterday in the council. It seemed to go on for ages.
It certainly did. But you know what? It was really fantastic to hear from 10 people from the community, also including Doc and Wellington NZ, and a few of the operators, just speaking quite openly about the pros and cons of having a building down there in that site. So it certainly gave us something to think about.
Well, certainly a lot to think about on this one. And I don't really want to spend the time speaking about this because I'm sure it's going to be canvassed very fully over the weeks to come. But as a businesswoman, Angela, which you are you satisfied the business case has been made for the Kapiti Gateway building?
No, that's still to really come to fruition. We have got a contractor doing a business case study on it, and as we passed a resolution yesterday, the final tick-off for the building and the project is yet to really come. So yesterday's decision was really purely about the PGS funding, and we're in a position where basically the community has 50% of the cost paid for by the government, which is a fantastic thing, and why wouldn't we take advantage of it? And earlier we've been criticised for not taking advantage of the PGF, so here was our opportunity, so we did it.
Do we know what downstream costs there may be for the ratepayers in terms of keeping this thing going?
Well, to be honest, over the next 4 years, in the LTP there was around about $2 million budgeted for this project anyway. So in some respects, that's just been pulled forward and fast-tracked to take the opportunity.
But what about staff costs and things and keeping the thing going? There must be some costs in that as well.
There will be costs, but we are hoping that will be covered by the income coming in from the different facets that are going to be going on in that building. And that's what the case study will really prove.
Okay.
Or not.
Or not. All right. Well, okay. So we've got many days to talk about that in the future. Angela,
Sure.
I really wanted to talk about business and jobs. The world has changed. COVID-19 has come. It's had an enormous effect on business. Although I did see a survey that suggested that maybe the provincial centres, such as the Kapiti Coast, may be doing somewhat better during the lockdown than the main metropolitan areas. However, that being said, we have got challenging times ahead for business and jobs. What is the role of the KCDC in all of this?
Well, KCDC are keeping a close eye on this moving landscape. As you can imagine, everything's kind of been tossed in the air and changed a little bit. I think that we can be sort of reassured, which is a funny thing. We've always wanted to attract international tourism, and funnily enough, because we haven't, and we rely a lot on day trippers out of Wellington and Palmerston, we're sort of in a favourable position in that respect. We've also, a lot of our reliance is on healthcare and that aged care kind of facilities. So they're quite stable, and if anything, they might be busier, where older people might feel more reassured in a community village kind of setting. We've also got the construction area where that's ticking along, and at the moment we haven't heard of any major jobs being pulled because of COVID in the future down the track. If anything, I mean, Coastlands have just dug up their car park to pop another building. So they're obviously feeling quite positive about the economy going forward.
So you're sounding pretty optimistic then. Here I was thinking, oh dear, doom and gloom and grey, dark days ahead. Do you think that possibly we're going to get out of this relatively well?
Well, I think that we are. When you look at places like Rotorua, Queenstown, they're really devastated. I think also what's in our favour is that so many commuters that we lose every day going to Wellington have been in lockdown at home, and those businesses that they're working for have realised that we can actually be productive working from home and working like that. So in some respects that's been in our favour as well. But hey, I'm not glossing over the sad stories out there. There are people losing their jobs. We have seen the closure of Smith City and of course Fonterra, which we already knew about. But for those Fonterra workers, they got extra work out of it. They were to close at the end of June, I think, and now they're closing at the end of July. So because they needed that production to carry on.
It certainly is. It's a complex scene, there's no doubt about that. Incidentally, I like the point you made. I think Penny Gaylor made it last week here on the radio as well. It could be the return of the day trip from Wellington that could really benefit Kapiti, because that really is what particularly the Paraparaumu settlement was. It was a collection of batches where people came up for the weekend and they enjoyed the island, they enjoyed the beaches. This was the resort of Wellington at one stage. So perhaps with local tourism being the thing, that might come back and benefit the area.
Well, you're absolutely right. Back in the 70s, we had the hot bread shop that was open on the weekend, which was the only place in the Wellington area that had hot, fresh bread. And that kind of started that day tripping thing. And we had the Coastlands Mall that opened, which was one of the only malls in the Lower North Island. So,
and it opened on the weekend. They opened on Saturday. How amazing was that? That's where it all started. So yes, right. Possibly it is a half glass full sort of thing. You mentioned the businesses that have been very productive working from home. One of those is the KCDC, because I have quite good contact with many of the officers. They have been working very hard and they have been doing some real work from home, haven't they?
Look, they really have, and it was a massive shift. I mean, everybody in business had sort of like 48 hours, turn their business upside down, send their workers home and hope like hell things would work. And so we were really fortunate that, we've got 300 staff that work for KCDC, and the majority of them were trying to function from home with young kids scampering around their feet and dogs and cats all over them. And so there's been some interesting Zoom meetings.
But I think that by and large, many businesses have found out, hey, this worked. And the thing about online work is that you know when the workers come in, because there it is, they see the products right there and you can run a proper project plan and away we go. And crikey, we don't have these fixed costs, or we potentially don't have the fixed costs of large building spaces. Even if we have, we've got to space out the employees. Do you get the feeling that for business, we're at a bit of a tipping point here?
I think so. You know, we've always talked about that whole life balance, and this has enabled our Wellington commuters to have an extra 2 hours or so in their life up on the Kapiti Coast. So, and also be productive. I know with my partner, he works for the police, and even through all the earthquakes, Kaikoura earthquakes, he still had to go into Wellington, which was crazy.
Yep.
So over this lockdown period, it really forced people to think differently about how they work.
And that has got those potential benefits for Kapiti if we don't have the thousands of people commuting into Wellington every day, even if it's just a proportion who stay behind. That has got a potential benefit for local business, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And we've seen those figures, the recent figures come out. I think it was around 15% up for local spend in Kapiti, which is great.
Angela, can you share with us any of the work that the KCDC has done during the COVID-19 lockdown as it pertains to business and jobs? Is there anything in there that may present some kind of solution for businesses under strain?
Yeah, they have. They were very early on in the piece, I think, early in April. We approved some fees and charges to be moved and changed. So the hospitality industry, if they're paying for their outdoor seating fees, they can pull back on that and they can get a remit on that. Also, alcohol licences and things like that. Obviously, those businesses couldn't function. so they can also get a rebate on those kinds of things. So the council has been pretty relaxed with those fees. Also, in the building consent area, if someone had put some consents in for work that they were wanting to do, they can also get a refund if they're not going ahead with those kind of jobs.
So there is some real stuff there. Do you envisage anything more as yet unannounced that may be down the track and could help business?
Well, I think that it's more of a central government thing to be doing, to be honest.
Yes.
And central government have really emptied their pockets, which is good for now. I don't know what the future's going to look like and how that's going to be paid for, but that's a different discussion. So in terms of local government, they were leaning heavily on government to help businesses out per se. But going forward, our Economic Development Department have been working super hard to see what the land looks like in Kapiti in terms of extra training and working. I know that we've been working with Horowhenua Learning Connection to see what sort of training packages they can be put into play to support people getting into different workforces.
Yes. Well, that's all very sensible, and perhaps we can check up again as we work through this, because frankly we don't know how bad it is or how good it is at the moment. But the dark clouds seem to be forming. Love to have another chat with you at some stage, Angela.
That'd be lovely. Thanks very much, John.
Thank you very much for joining us. Councillor Angela Buswell here on the beach.
106.3 Beach FM.